Hey, did you see the latest news on the Clippers with what came out of the Post earlier this week?
Which one?
So there was a story published by the Post, which included some text messages from Johnny Wilkes, who was a friend of Dennis Robertson and Robinson and Kawhi Leonard and
Uncle
whatnot.
Dennis.
Uncle Dennis, yes. There's a text exchange.
Okay.
I just want to get your thoughts on this. Jerry West texted Johnny Wilkes, who helped facilitate the conversation, between Kawhi and the Clippers. And he said, Jerry West said, just wanted to thank you for your help. This was in the hours before the meeting between Kawhi and the Clippers. Wilkes responded, please tell everyone to pitch life after basketball to Kawhi. That's what he really wants to hear. And then West wrote, if he would go to the Lakers, he would be LeBron's caddy. Wilkes responded, F the Lakers. This is between you and Toronto. And then in the days after that meeting, West on July 4th said, when can we expect the decision? Don't want to be a pest and frankly don't want to bother Dennis anymore. If you hear anything, please let me know. Thank you for all your help. Wilkes responded, we'll call you later. We'll talk to Dennis again. That night, according to the Post, Wilkes texted Uncle Dennis that he had talked with West. It was a three-way call about a proposal for, quote, Ballmer to fund the Kawhi marketing campaign. Robertson didn't respond, and Wilkes told the Post the proposal never came to fruition. In an interview, Watson denied the call took place when shown his own texts with Wilkes about the call. Watson said he didn't recall the exchange. The Clippers declined to comment. The next day, Ballmer texted West, where do you think your guy is leaning? Could not get any indication. West wrote back to Ballmer. 2 days later, Kawhi signs with the Clippers. It's not a smoking gun.
By the way, how did they get this?
It seems like
Johnny text messages.
I'm not exactly sure how I got some of these texts, but Wilkes, according to the Post, provided them 2 voicemails. I would assume some of these texts may also be from him as well.
Yeah,
but it's not a smoking gun. None of this is so far, but it all feels like it's all building towards a lot of evidence against the Clippers. What are your whole thoughts on this whole saga?
The thing is crazy because I remember this story very well. Raptors. I have an affinity towards the Raptors just because they're the lone Canadian team. I was happy to see them win. It was great with Kawhi. And I really thought after they won that he was going to stick around and come back for at least one more year. I thought he could sign like a 1-year deal, try to repeat. Yeah. And then if it doesn't work out, you can go and do your thing in LA. And if you recall, all of a sudden he was like showing up to Blue Jays games and it really seemed like he was embracing Toronto. It was like, oh, wow, this is going to happen. And obviously we know what happened here. I mean, shout out to Pablo Torre. The reporting has been tremendous. It has been phenomenal. And they're definitely, I feel like we're long past the smoking gun stage at this point with like everything that he's unearthed with this, what is the name of this company?
Aspiration.
Yeah. Yes. This whole thing.
Like carbon credits and whatnot.
my honestly, like when I first heard about it, I always sort of assumed like there have always been these sort of like sweetheart deals or like fan or team friendly deals. And like, so you always kind of assume like, is there something else going on where they're offsetting this in another way? He has it in black and white. My big question is like, how often is this actually happening in the NBA? And I don't know if that will get unearthed, but I feel like there's a lot of smoke to this fire. I believe everything that Pablo has said and reported, and I feel like Ballmer showing up on ESPN like a day later or 2 days later to address this and not address it with the guy who broke the story, because that guy is armed with all the information, I thought was a very telling sign. He tried to get ahead of it. I don't think he did a great job of getting ahead of it. And I feel like there's just more and more stuff that is coming out that would lead one to believe that there was something amiss here.
It's all trickling very slowly. And it's like not like this is just a new thing. 5 years ago when Kawhi first made the decision, there's stuff about, he asked them to buy him a house, right? That was all public stuff, like rumors and whatnot, and nothing came of it. But it's not like this is a new thing. These demands in Kawhi's camp with Uncle Dennis and all that was a whole thing years ago.
Oh, yeah.
We've known about this character for a long time now. Like, will the NBA want to open up this can of worms? That, to your point about, do other teams do this? Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
It feels like
other teams probably do it. And so would they want to put a harsh penalty on the Clippers for one of the 10 richest guys who could, in theory, clap back and say, you're going to do this to me?
Yeah.
Well, here's what I know about everybody else.
Do you think this has tarnished Kawhi's legacy or his reputation?
I don't know. I think the fact he's the face of load management is tarnishment enough. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't get worse than that.
Yeah.
The guy doesn't play. It's not all his fault. Some of the injuries are out of his control.
Right.
But like he
It hasn't been
ultimately,
great.
he is the face of load management. But you also saw him in Toronto. I remember being in the locker room for that finals between the Raptors and the Warriors, and him limping through like an old man while being a warrior on the court. So I saw that guy win an NBA Finals by clearly playing through something serious and walked through the locker room with a major limp, and he still was out there. So you know what Kawhi is capable of doing. So I don't want to knock him too much for injuries that, it's too bad. But he is the face of load management.
So you think that's a greater knock on his legacy and reputation than this?
I mean, how much of this is him versus Uncle Dennis doing some nefarious stuff, and I don't know.
You think doing it without his consent or knowledge?
Like the Ohtani stuff?
I was literally just gonna, and obviously very different.
Very different.
But yeah,
could be. I mean, we don't know all the details. Ultimately, we don't.
100%. I find it sometimes hard to believe that. It's sort of like to a degree, it's sort of like when guys say like, oh, I didn't know that was in that pill that I took, right? And I'm like, like your body is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. You best know. And if you didn't know, then you're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, and so I feel like they kind of know everything that's going on. I don't think that their head is in the sand when it comes to these things. There's too much money. There's too much at stake. Their reputation and these guys care about what people think of them. And so I don't think that they're just going to now this is different. Uncle Dennis, they've been, they're thick as thieves and all that stuff. But like, I have a hard time believing that things are happening without his knowledge.
Yeah, I would think so. And I mean, that's the whole thing with like people got mad on social media for Pablo Torre suggesting, well, Ty Lue's connected to all of like Chauncey Billups stuff. He's always popping up in these stories, and people got mad at him for connecting Ty Lue and Chauncey Billups when Billups is the one being arrested. Ty Lue, so far, no evidence of him doing anything wrong. Exactly. So people got mad at Pablo for that. With that said, though, if you're best friends, you probably know your buddy's doing something nefarious
to a degree.
To a degree. Yeah, maybe not to that extent.
Sure.
You might have an idea.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it's been a fascinating year as far as this reporting is concerned. Crazy. And how it all is tying together.